My insecure girlfriend got me fired because she hated my success, so I left and got an even better job. Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons, often through the people we trust the most. I learned this the hard way when my fiancée, someone I once thought was my biggest supporter, became the reason I lost my job. It was a devastating betrayal, but in the end, it led me to a much better future, one I never would have reached if I had stayed trapped in her toxic web. I was 32, living in Denver, Colorado, and working as a financial analyst at a mid-sized investment firm. I had always been ambitious, working late nights, attending workshops, and pushing myself to climb the corporate ladder. My fiancée, Lily, was a marketing executive at a different company. She was intelligent, driven, and charming when she wanted to be. We had been together for 4 years, engaged for 1, and from the outside, we seemed like the perfect couple, both career-oriented and successful. But cracks started appearing when I received a promotion. I had worked tirelessly for years, proving my worth to the firm, and when the opportunity arose for a senior position, I seized it. The salary increase was substantial, almost doubling my previous earnings. I was thrilled. I thought Lily would be too. Instead, her reaction was anything but supportive. At first, she feigned happiness, congratulating me with a forced smile. But in the weeks that followed, things changed. She became distant, irritable, and more controlling. She started making snide remarks about my work, questioning why I was always so invested in my job. "You care more about your spreadsheets than you do about me," she once snapped when I had to work late on a major project. I tried to reassure her that my dedication was for our future. We had plans, a house, traveling, maybe kids someday. My success meant stability, yet she seemed to resent it. It wasn't until later that I realized why. Lily had always prided herself on being the higher earner in our relationship. Before my promotion, she made about 15% more than I did. It gave her a sense of superiority, a silent dominance that she enjoyed. She made the major financial decisions, picked where we ate, and dictated the vacations we took. But my sudden surge in income disrupted that balance, and she hated it. Her insecurities manifested in ways I never expected. She started planting doubts in my mind, subtly suggesting that my colleagues didn't respect me or that my boss was using me. "Are you sure they actually see you as leadership material?" she would say. "Maybe they just needed a placeholder." At first I brushed it off as stress or jealousy, thinking she would adjust. But it got worse. She became obsessed with the idea that my success was a threat to our relationship. Then things took a more sinister turn. One afternoon I was called into my boss's office. The HR manager was also there, their expressions unreadable. I sat down, confused but not yet alarmed. "We need to discuss some concerning allegations," my boss started, sliding a folder across the desk. Inside were printed screenshots of emails that I had supposedly sent, making unprofessional remarks about my colleagues and even confidential financial discussions that breached company policy. My heart pounded as I scanned the messages. They were fabricated. "This isn't me," I said firmly, but their expressions remained doubtful. They had received an anonymous tip about my supposed misconduct, and given the nature of the allegations, they had to take immediate action. Despite my protests, they put me on indefinite leave pending an investigation. The weight of the accusation crushed me. I had built my reputation on integrity, and now it was being torn apart by lies. I left the office in a daze, my mind racing with questions. Who would do this to me? Who had access to my work emails? Who stood to gain from my downfall? Then it hit me. Lily. I rushed home, my hands shaking as I confronted her. At first, she denied everything, playing the innocent and offended act, but when I pushed harder, her mask slipped. "I did it for us," she finally admitted, crossing her arms. "You were changing. Money does that to people." I stared at her in disbelief. "So you tried to ruin my career?" I didn't think they'd actually fire you. I just wanted to humble you a little," she defended herself. The sheer audacity of her words made my blood run cold. She hadn't just jeopardized my job. She had tried to dismantle everything I had worked for because of her own insecurities. That was the moment I knew I had to leave. Without another word, I packed a bag and walked out. She screamed after me, pleading, threatening, then crying. But I didn't look back. The next few weeks were a nightmare. My employer concluded their investigation and, unable to verify the claims, officially terminated me anyway to avoid further risk. My professional reputation had taken a massive hit, making job hunting nearly impossible. I was angry, not just at Lily, but at myself for not seeing the signs earlier. I had ignored the red flags, brushed off her comments, and convinced myself that she was just struggling with my success rather than actively working against it. For a while, I spiraled into self-doubt. What if I never got another chance? What if every employer believed the accusations? I had saved enough to stay afloat for a few months, but the uncertainty was suffocating. Then I made a decision. If no one would hire me, I would create my own path. Using my skills and experience, I started freelancing as a financial consultant. It was slow at first, but I networked aggressively, offering free advice on forums, writing insightful LinkedIn articles, and building a strong reputation online. Slowly, the gigs trickled in, then multiplied. Within 6 months, I was earning more than I had at my previous job, and for the first time I was in complete control of my career. Then an opportunity came that changed everything. A high-profile investment firm was looking for someone to lead a new financial strategy division. They had come across my work online and reached out to me directly. I went through multiple rounds of interviews, and after weeks of waiting, I got the job. Not only was the position far better than my previous role, but the salary and benefits were nearly triple what I had been making. It was poetic justice. Lily reached out once she caught wind of my success. A weak attempt at rekindling what she had destroyed. I never responded. Some people don't deserve closure. Looking back, losing that job was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It forced me to rebuild, to prove my worth on my own terms. It also taught me a valuable lesson. Never let anyone, no matter how close, dictate your potential or sabotage your success. And for anyone out there who has faced betrayal, remember this. Setbacks are often just setups for something greater. You just have to be willing to walk away from what's holding you back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe. Not because I told you to, but because you don't want to miss the next one. Trust me,